Warning: this podcast contains spoilers for upcoming projects. Listen with caution. It was just a lot of trouble. Well, hello, audience. Welcome back to Behind the Locked Doors, a weekly check-in that we pretend is a real podcast.
Bi-weekly check-in? Question mark?
Oh, bi-weekly, yes.
Yeah. I wasn't here last week. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah, no. Like, I released the other one so late that it has just been a week since we released it. So that being said, it'll probably take me forever. I am Scott Paladin. I am working on a horny werewolf audio drama called It Takes a Wolf.
And I'm Sam Stark. I am really not working on As in West right now, but I will. I promise. I'm going to get back to it.
Someday in the future, it'll come back.
Hi, I'm Jack. Same deal. I feel like you and me, Sam, both have like full plates of other shit going on right now.
Yes.
It's making it tough to actually put meaningful work in on As in West, but we are, like, in the broad sense, making an audio drama called As in West.
You're sitting by the window as it rains outside and waiting for the side project to come home from the war.
Yeah. No, that's 100% what's happening. And I want to just put it out here on this check-in that we record like a podcast, that I do think about As in West like a lot. Like, it's in my brain all the time. It is a pure passion project. I love it, and I feel very strongly about it. It's just one of those where, like, I have other things that I'm being paid for that I have to do first, and so I chip
Stuff
away
with deadlines.
Yeah, exactly. I chip away at As in West when I can, and it's like my fun, relax and like create whatever I want kind of a thing. So at least, I mean, it doesn't happen often. It's going very, very slow, but it does bring me a lot of joy to do it. So it's fine. I don't mind that it's taking a while. I don't know about anybody else, so it's fine with me that it's taking a while.
We don't have
Obviously,
deadlines, like release deadlines for this at all. Like, when we make it, we'll make it. But we're not in a
you're not in a hurry. That's just how it goes sometimes. I'm in the world of like constructing deadlines for myself and then like hearing them whoosh as they go past, which is also again, that's only self-imposed. I haven't done anything. So actually we should do our check-ins real quick. My goal was to have my casting call done as of today. That turned out not to be the case because I had a little bit of, I didn't know everything I needed to do for it. I've got like the vast majority of it is I wrote almost all of my character descriptions. I did all of my line selection for all of the characters except for one. And that's been the problem one, which is I need to do the accomplice. And then I was like, oh yeah, I need to rewrite all of her lines because they don't work. Like the bulk of her dialogue was written before I thought it was going to be in a conlang. And I was like, oh, I'll just write it. And I tried to translate it into it and it didn't work the way it worked later when I had a character in mind for that. So I need to go back and redo her thing. And then I was like, well, what if I also need to like write a pronunciation guide I was like, oh, there's like another, 10 hours of work or something like that. I don't know what it actually is, but some amount of work that needs to go into that before I can actually release it. But pretty much everything else is done. Yeah. And for reasons that I won't say on the podcast, I can't put the casting call out until September anyway. So that is fine. Like we're still on schedule and all that stuff. I need to get back to
fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I just was like, oh, I just discovered work as I was doing it.
Hate it when that happens.
Right? Yeah. So how did y'all do?
Okay, so real quick, the only thing I accomplished was uploading the second half of the pilot to the shared Google Drive that Sam so kindly set up. Can't find the current version of the first half anywhere. Like, it's so weird. Like, the old version's in my Google Drive.
Yeah.
Because at some point, Sam, you sent it to me to do like dialogue tweaks, whatever, and I did them, but then we didn't end up using that version. And the new version, the link to it in our Discord channel is broken. It only goes to this has been deleted.
Oh, lovely.
So I finally watched the movie Deadpool and Wolverine last night because I'm really, really behind.
And how was that?
It was great. It was really, really good. It was really fun, especially for a comic book lover like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like totally passed out on the couch. Like I had put everybody to bed, and I was like, "Yay, this is such a nice, fun evening." Zonk, just out.
Unconscious on the couch.
Yeah. And I woke up like sort of somewhere between like 2 and like 3:30 because the dog was like stepping on my stomach. Of course, that's what
Classic.
dogs do. And I was like, okay, let's go outside, and I had my phone while I was outside, and I saw your message, Jack, and I saw the like I can't whatever it said, like I can't open, or something's gone, or something's deleted, and I, in my days of being basically still asleep, I tried to go into the Google Drive, but I couldn't read anything. Like I was still asleep.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, I was getting like dreamily annoyed. Like, Jack, what the fuck are you talking about? Nothing works. What did you do?
What did you break everything, Jack? What the fuck?
Exactly. So then I brought the dog back inside. I went back to bed, and then I woke up this morning, and like the first thought I had, I was like, pulling myself out of the sleep, and just kind of slowly wake up, Jack, oh god, and like but for some reason my brain had made it into this story of something was really wrong, and like something, we had lost something or whatever. And then as I woke up, I was like, oh no, they just can't get into everything is fine.
Yeah,
oh my god,
okay. I just can't access the current version for whatever reason.
Yes, and I will fix all that today. It was just my brain decided to take me on a journey, and
God.
It was
the
insane.
3 a.m. journey.
Yes.
I hate the when that happens.
It was crazy.
No, I think like especially when you pass out on the couch or like in a less than opportune location.
Yeah.
At a weird time of night, and then you wake up in the middle of the night totally disoriented, like, what planet am I on?
Yes.
What year is it?
Yes.
Where am I? What's happening? Like, that always makes my brain construct the most bonkers scenarios about anything and everything. It really does happen like that.
It's like it's like trying to learn how to be a person all over again. You're like, I am a blank slate. It's 11 p.m. and I just woke up from like an 8-hour nap, and like the world is like, what the hell?
Devil's nap. Absolutely.
It's now my first day on Earth.
Or like compound that with, have you ever gone to like a movie theater at like, it's still bright outside, like it's 5 p.m. or whatever, and then it's a boring movie, so you fall asleep during it, and you wake up and the movie's over, and you leave and it's dark, and you don't even know what time it is.
You come out and you're like, I'm in the Twilight Zone. What just happened?
You're like,
I think it's actually weirder if you come out of the theater and it's still bright out. I just went and saw the new 28 Years Later, and we saw it really, really early in the day because I just don't have $75 to see a movie. And so we did a matinee, and I didn't even fall asleep in the middle of that movie because it was a great movie. And we come out and it's bright ass daytime, and we're all like totally discombobulated. It's so weird. But it's
all good. Anyways, we'll figure out where that file is, and I will make the dialogue edits I was supposed to make after we've done that.
Yay. And I will someday get to the parts that I was supposed to do. I went to Worldcon.
Yeah, how was that?
It was really fun, and I have so many stories and so many fun things that I could share, but I'm actually going to share, there was a booth that had 2 guys that were, like, I guess, advocating for AI narration.
Oh my god.
In the middle of this fantasy, sci-fi, and horror literary con.
That's crazy.
They had people like George R.R. Martin and Neil Clark from Clark's World and Becky Chambers and like people like, writers that write books, actual
with their
books,
human hands and human brains. Right.
And we had me and Shirumi and a bunch of other really great narrators there, and like we're walking past this booth like, what the fuck? And it inspired several, not like nobody got in like a fisticuffs kind of a fight, but there was a lot of like shouting around their
I bet
booth.
there was.
I bet there was.
There it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was 5 days long. I had to actually do that on my hand just now. And like all 5 days there was some sort of like
kerfuffle.
Yeah, there was some sort of kerfuffle at that tent, and then apparently they had a panel or whatever, and like it was just, I understand that everybody's really upset about it, and obviously I'm too, because it's like taking jobs from me, but like I also wish that people could be like, maybe we could just talk about it, not shout at people, because it was like that's not going to help anybody. But I just wanted, I didn't have the brain or the mental fortitude to go and talk to them, because I would have just been like the whole time. But I wish that I'd had a little bit of time to like maybe go over there and like maybe get like where they were in their brains, because it would have been interesting to know like why are you here? Like you are in the midst of like people that legitimately hate what you do, and what made you decide to have a booth here?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I wonder if that's just general like tech bro unawareness, because they can't, like, a lot of the people who are really, really into AI like don't have the perspective to understand how other people view it.
Yeah.
And so they can't imagine the reaction to it, or they dismiss it as being like, you know, oh, well, these people are just behind the times or whatever, you know, they're just stuck in their ways or whatever. And they don't really understand what the objections are to it. Like, so it could be just that, or maybe they were, you know, maybe, I mean, there's also the people who are like, any coverage is, you know, any intention is good attention, whether it's, you know, negative or not. And so they might've been deliberately provoking people. AI is one of those things where it's like, like I'm not as hardline as the rest of the community that I see, like my section of the internet, where like everybody, there's a lot of people who have like all uses of any kind of AI, which doesn't really mean anything. That word
there's a lot
has been completely robbed of meaning anymore. But like there are a lot of people who are like, any use of anything like this is like 100% a non-starter for me. But like I remember those same arguments about Photoshop about 25 years ago. Like, this isn't real art. And the same thing has happened with like music production and all that stuff with DAWs and everything. So like there will be a place for these kinds of tools in production chains, but the world will have to get used to some of this stuff. But the way that it's being shoved into everything without you asking for it,
without asking, and replacing human people who need to do their craft.
And like, so far the only thing it can produce is like slop, right? Like
and it's not even a useful tool much of the time. There are things that really could be useful for. This is what drives me up the wall.
I do occasionally see like an interesting AI video generation thing that like, not only would it be like, it's one of those things where like the amount of the amount of man hours it would take to create wouldn't be worth the return for like experimenting. So like there are these videos of people like they're like the ASMR videos, but they're like people like cutting clouds and stuff, or like molten lava, like things that patently could not, you have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to generate with traditional visual effects tools. Now, not that it wouldn't be possible, but that it would just be much more difficult.
Yeah.
Those are interesting because there's stuff that the cost would be prohibitive otherwise, right? Like you're doing a thing that would be too expensive to do with the manual tools. This new tool is good at it. But then when you hear AI narration, because, you know, anybody scrolling on any kind of short form video app these days is going to run across, you know, the like AI voices. And it's like, this doesn't work. Like, this isn't good enough.
It's not.
It's
not good enough to replace humans for sure.
Yeah. And like the idea that you want to replace actual creative input from humans with just like prompt engineering and like seeing what a random noise generator kind of outputs doesn't super appeal to me. But but like I said, these tools do have a place within a production chain. There are I've used the Adobe AI voice enhancer, they call it, which I don't know how much. I mean, they're doing some amount of actual like neural network reprocessing, and they're obviously keeping that all behind locked doors. So I know, but it's not just that. It's also it's got some standard compression settings and volume leveling and stuff like that. But it is using some sort of quote unquote AI reprocessing, and I've used that. But like, that doesn't replace anybody. Like, that's not going to take somebody's job away, because that's really just saving some audio that I would have had to throw away otherwise.
Yeah, you're like starting with something that a human created that there was like a quality issue with or a technical issue with, and repairing it with a tool. I feel like that is so different than firing a human who was going to do work for you and being like, we'll just let the computer do it.
Or even not,
and do it
even
worse.
not look for a human in the first place. Like, never even have that considered that. Now, I probably wouldn't have had enough. I'm still tired. I probably wouldn't have had as much of a problem with them if they were like, AI, how can we use it? Or, you know, like, what are the uses for it? But their booth thing actually said, like, AI narration or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like actually using an AI to narrate your books, and that's what just made everybody so mad. Yeah, and that's why I was like, "What the fuck?
How did you get here?"
Right, and I actually read a couple of articles. One was really incredible. I will try and find it, and then you can like link it somewhere, Scott.
Sure.
And it was a English professor, and I don't remember what university it was. It was like Stanford or Harvard, one of the big ones, and Cambridge maybe. And he had his class all write papers using AI, and like they did a round of like using AI. And then after he did that, and it was all they were fine papers, but like when they read them together, it sounded like the same paper, even though nobody collaborated.
Right,
And then he had them write another paper on anything they wanted in the whole wide world, and he said, use AI tools to research, to get ready, and then write the paper yourself. And everybody wrote the best paper that they'd ever written in their entire life. And so he was making this argument, like, it's a tool. Like, don't replace your writing, but like use it to help you. And I was like, wow, that's really smart. I moderated the Batman panel at a Worldcon, and I was having a lot of trouble like structuring the panel because none of us were like Batman industry people. We were just fans. And I was like, well, I can't ask any questions about like, you know, what was it like when you penned this, you know, how did you feel when you were writing blah, blah, blah. So I had to just think up questions or think up topics about Batman that would be just fun for everybody. And so I used like an AI thing to like come up with questions, and I didn't end up using any of the questions that they generated, but it helped me kind of like, oh, maybe we can, instead of that, do that. And so it kind of was like bouncing, like another person was bouncing ideas off of me, or I was bouncing off of them. And that worked really well. And so like, I'm also like you, Scott, I'm not going to be like absolutely no AI ever, because there are tools, AI tools that are really, really helpful. Just don't replace people doing the art.
Yeah. Well, like the most useful, like it's one of those things. One of the principles that like sort of guides me is the idea that I can't, or at least at the moment with the way the industry is, I could never use AI to produce something that could then be shown to the customer and user, audience, whoever, shown publicly, right? Like you're never going to have it write copy for me. Like I'm never going to have it write like ad copy or text or like generate voices that I'm going to use in a thing. Like I don't want, or like use AI generation to create a logo or something like that. But like what it's good at is, and part of this is just because all of the other tools have gotten so shitty, is for generating things that you can then react to. Like I used to be able to go to Pinterest or some other website and say, you know, Flickr, or like there were a bunch of image sites out there where I could say, you know, mid-century logos, right? And just see a sea of real logos that were from the vintage. And that stuff is so hard to find now. And most of the time when you're looking at it you're going to get a bunch of AI slop anyway, that I might as well just go to an image generation tool and say, hey, show me a bunch of ideas for logos. And then from there go, well, I don't like any of this crap, but there's some ideas in here that I could then use on my own work. Or you know, having something like ChatGPT or one of those other ones ask you questions that you're answering is also useful. Where you're like, I'm broaching an idea for you. Ask me questions about it so that you're eliciting the responses that I wouldn't otherwise think of, right? Like it's using it as a sort of a soundboard or something like that. Those are, I think, completely legitimate uses for something like this, when you can't like bother another person about something. It's 2 a.m. and you're like, I need to talk
that
to
3 a.m. brain we were talking about.
Yeah. So like there are definitely places for it. It's just not, I don't feel comfortable ever using it to produce something that I would then show to somebody and be like, here is a thing I made, because you didn't make it, right?
Because you didn't.
Also just like the way that I know just enough about like under the hood stuff that like it just, the AI, the way, like the fundamental ideas behind AI, the way AI generation stuff works right now, is using random noise, basically. And if you look at random noise, like zoomed out, like if you take an actual, you can go into Photoshop right now and generate a random noise image, right? And it's static. It's flat. There's no like dynamicness to it. And that leaks into everything that AI actually generates. Like if you've ever heard any of the like AI generated music, if you look at enough AI generated art, you're like, this is all kind of flat. there isn't like really bright and dynamic sections of it usually. Like it's all kind of flat, it's all kind of the same. And that's because like you can't get at the moment they haven't solved the problem, and perhaps it will change in the future, but you just can't get like real weird creativity out of something that is like just using this flat noise as an input. It's like garbage in, garbage out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, probably out of the three of us, I'm the most like hardline no AI use of the three of us, but mostly because I'm trained as an artist, like a visual artist, and there's so much stuff with like copyright and like ownership of work and stuff like that, where the AI usage in the visual art sphere is really just like a plagiarism machine.
Right.
Where it's eating art that humans have created and spitting out salad, like visual salad. And people are going, I made this. And I'm like, actually, you stole art from all these other people who didn't consent and fed it into the wood chipper, and then chipped out a bunch of like, you know, turds and said, okay, I've made art, and I basically cut up a bunch of other artists' work to make it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's hard. And also it's like a big like environment resource issue where it's using tons and tons of processing power and electricity and water and all of this shit to produce basically garbage. So those are my like personal issues with it. Well, but I do think that like there are like Scott said, production lines like uses where if we got it to the point where we were being a little more ethical in how we collected the information that it uses, it could be useful for that stuff. It's not at that point right now.
No.
Like every time you ask ChatGPT a question, you've used like 30 gallons of water or whatever. You know what I mean? Like we just haven't figured that stuff out yet, unfortunately.
And the thing is that like the unfortunate part of that is that there's like all of your objections are 100% true about like copyright problems and environmental problems. And the thing that kills me is that those are not fundamentally different from working with any other big tech like industry, right? Like, okay, it uses more power than like, you know, going on Reddit or whatever, but like Reddit, Facebook, Amazon, AWS, all of these things, like they're already doing all of the things that like the AI companies are also doing. Like it's just like an accelerator. Like there's nothing fundamentally different about AI versus just using, you know, a really high computational power resource for other things, right? Like
that's the same thing with like the Bitcoin farms and stuff where they're using up colossal amounts of energy.
And it stresses, and there's all kinds of knock-on effects from all of that. It stresses the grid. It, you know, is like the kind of thing that can be put overseas to like put a lot of extra stress on developing nations.
That's the other thing you hear about is like when you find out that somebody was using an AI generator to do blah, blah, blah. And it turns out it was just some guy getting paid 2 cents an hour sitting there typing away at his computer in Bangladesh or somewhere.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like none of those problems, which I agree are like big and real, are fundamentally different from all of the other big problems that happen under late stage capitalism. And like, you know,
it's all late stage capitalism all the way down,
like,
baby.
You want to get into copyright talk where like, you know, despite the fact that like we live in a world where like, you know, copyright used to be like 21 years with an opportunity to extend it for like 7 more. So like Star Wars would be public domain if we had lobbyists hadn't gone in and like removed, like extended the copyright and stuff. And so like there's all these things in which like capitalistic structures have like bought and stolen like cultural property, things that should have been property of humanity as a whole, and are now saying, no, we own this. Disney owns a huge part of culture because they bought Star Wars and Amazon and Marvel and all of these other things that they own, and they say that nobody else can use them. So like weirdly enough, like, you know, like they are, and then they're the ones who are capitalizing on AI stuff because they can just rob from everybody else because they're powerful enough to not, like nobody else can sue them, you know, because nobody else, the small guys don't have money.
Who's going to sue Disney?
You know? Right. And so like, it's this, like the issue, like AI is just one of those things. Like it's the tip of a spear that is this big problem all the way back down to its roots. And like, I don't think there's anything fundamentally different about this technology in that way. It's just a matter of degrees. And like all of the objections to it are true of other things in different amounts. But like that being said, the fact that like, like the idea of using it to replace people wouldn't even be a problem if putting people out of a job didn't rob them of food and healthcare and a place to
and
live.
like a job they
right?
want to do and have been trained to do because they enjoy it and because they're good at it.
Well,
like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
But even jobs that people don't really want to do, but that they do because they're lucrative, like truck driving. Like long distance truck driving is one of the last careers that like you can go in with like no high school, without even a high school diploma, and you can make a living at it, and you could make good money at it. And now
it's
they're
a necessary service that you're providing.
Well,
I did it for a while. It is incredibly good money.
Yeah, and like although trains would be better, but that being said,
right.
Yeah. But now there's a huge pushback from the trucking industry about replacing jobs that with like a self-driving long distance truck or something like that. But like, wouldn't in a properly set up world, you could be like, okay, all of the truck drivers go home. We're going to give you the money anyway, but they don't have to do this thing. Like you're freed up to go do something else that we as a society would, because like if we can replace a truck driver with a machine that does the same job, just like we can replace somebody who used to like weave fabric by hand with a loom, right? Then like that frees up that person who used to have to make cloth by hand for 2 cents an hour to then go do something else that the society would be benefit more from, right? Like they can do work with their mind, they can just sit back and relax, they can take care of their families or elderly relatives. Like there's all these things that like people would be better, we as an entire species would be better off if our human hours were spent doing. And if the additional efficiencies that came from technology were distributed evenly, then everybody would have a 6-hour work week instead of a 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
And like you could have a huge amount of the society idle, like they wouldn't be working for money, but they would instead be still adding value to humanity as a whole. But instead what happens is that you just have everybody work more and more efficiently, and all of those resources then go to making mega yachts for really, really rich people.
Yeah.
Or, so it's like,
and like part of the issue, right, it is an addendum, is that a lot of the stuff we have automated as a society at this point is still run by people making 2 cents an hour. It's just that the machine that weaves the cloth has to be overseen by humans. So when it jams 5 times an hour, the human standing there can reach their arm into the machine and risk getting their limb chopped off to unjam the machine. Like all the stuff still requires human input. We don't have the automation to the level that it needs to be to actually replace a human worker.
Yeah. Well, no, we do. We just get from each human man hour invested, we get a lot more output. It's a lot more efficient, right? Because instead of having 200 people manually operating looms or manually weaving cloth, you have one guy walking down a row of machines, and when one of them jams up, you stop the machine and you fix it. You've reduced the number of person hours required to produce products. In some ways, this is like the thing is, like we are so far afield from where we started. Like we're talking about fundamental problems with like technological advancement in a capitalistic structure, and like that's what I'm talking about. Like not all of the problems, but most of the problems that exist within this space are bigger societal problems that we are also It's just like this is one of the newest, sharpest point of that, and like so like there are like. What are we going to do? Rewrite society? I don't know.
That'd be nice.
It'd be nice. Yeah, somebody please
great,
do that.
But society that worked, that'd be cool.
That would be great. But like also, like the revolution's not going to come, guys. We gotta like work on something. So,
well, I'm sorry to have started a whole AI
no
chat.
No,
it worked out really well. I'm glad. I'm glad everybody got to
interesting.
say stuff about it. But I do kind of wish that I had stopped by the booth and talked to the AI tech boys, because maybe they just had a really terrible sign, and what they meant was, we think that there are AI tools that you could use to write more efficiently or get better ideas from or whatever. But I did not give them that chance. One, because I was way too busy, and two, they made me sort of nauseous. So
valid.
Yeah. I next time I think I'm going to take the time to try and talk to them.
Yeah,
because there's another big thing coming up, Author Nation, and it's like the business side of self-publishing. And I've been invited a few times. I have a very good friend who's like really into like all of that, and in like with the staff people and stuff. And there's so many AI people there, but my friend who works for the staff is like, no, they're not like, let's use AI narrations. No, they're like, let's see how AI can help artists do the thing that they do. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit interested in maybe talking about that. But like you were saying, Jack, I just want to put in my quick 2 cents here. In the the realm of visual art, and be that movies or actual like paint on canvas or any of those types of arts. You know what I mean when I say art?
Yeah, right.
AI should not be there. Just absolutely should not be over there right now, especially. Maybe
It's
in the
so
future,
hard to like do it ethically. There's almost no way.
Maybe in the
shut it
future,
down.
when we figure out like when AI is suddenly sentient and we need to like let them know that they are their own beings and they can paint pictures if they want to, but we don't have androids trying to like find sentience yet. So right
No.
now, it needs to stay out of the visual art medium completely, totally, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I can't object with you. I can't argue with you on that either. Like, I think that like, especially with the visual stuff, it is so computationally expensive to produce things like that. And video is even worse because you're just doing the same thing a lot, that it is. Yeah. I mean, like there's just isn't, I'm not gonna say there's absolutely no place for it, but that there is like what we're doing now, the vast majority of it's just
right now.
garbage.
It's wrong.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we are not at the stage where it could even be much of a useful tool because yeah, it does at the moment only involve stealing from human work and spitting out garbage. Like that is all that it is good for at the moment. I would love to see it become like a workflow useful tool someday when all of those problems have been solved or at least mitigated like substantially from where they
like
are right
maybe
now.
Like maybe it could help mix paints, and like you had a really fast like I need a really weird green, let's mix greens really fast, and you could like do it really really quick. Because the one time that I painted a picture in my entire life, I spent like 20 minutes trying to get like the right shade of blue that I wanted. So like if you had an AI to be like, can you help me figure out how to mix this blue, let's do this together, you know?
Well,
like something
what
like that.
What you're talking about, Sam, is like that's the step from like physical media to Photoshop, right? Where you're just like, I select the green I want out of the color picker.
Yeah, we actually have that technology right now, and you can do it.
See how much I know?
Paint.
Nothing. I know nothing.
I'd be really interested to see what y'all two thought of there. Have you seen the Corridor Crew anime rock paper scissors videos?
No.
The videos themselves are whatever. You have to like that style to think they're interesting, but the behind the scenes of their work process, where they are essentially using AI as a filter over the top of video. They're basically using it to what's the word? When you trace over, when you make an animation by tracing over a live action video, I forget what the word
rotoscoping.
For it is. Rotoscoping. So they're essentially using AI to rotoscope over live action video that they themselves recorded. And their initial version of it, they used stills from an anime. They since were like, when they got a lot of flack on that one, they went back and they hired an artist to create the assets that then got fed into their pipeline to give themselves an old style, and B, they hired an artist to actually generate this style for them. But they're essentially using it as like I said, a giant rotoscoping machine that then comes in and draws over the top of a live action video to produce something that feels more animated. That's the kind of thing where like, that is much closer to a real useful way. And again, like humans are involved in every step of this process except for the actual tracing. Like
let me tell you what, I once I rotoscoped 7 seconds of live footage, and it took about 40 hours of my time to do that. It's really different to do it in an intentional way where you are specifically including humans to make the stuff and not just like using it as a shortcut to cut humans out of the pipeline or cut humans out of getting paid. Because what I usually see it used for in my spheres is that you hire an artist to do a sketch commission for you, and then you use an AI to finish the drawing and like not pay that artist the however much more money they would have made if you had them finish the drawing the way they normally would have. Oof. Stuff like that, where it's like that's the most common usage I am seeing, and I'm like, there's no way to like wrangle this back. It's like the cat is so far out the bag.
Yeah.
It is a huge mire of crap.
It's a mire. It is a mire.
Yeah, like it's a bog in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And like everybody just has to kind of figure out where their point in the sand is, and then like do that, and hopefully you can live with yourself afterwards.
I did get asked one sort of interesting question, and I want your guys' answer.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Let's say they asked me specifically, like if I was making a podcast, because that's what I do. They were like, "What if you were making a podcast and you it was like a sci-fi thing, and you had a whole bunch of actors that were playing all the parts, and you had writers, and you were paying everybody, and it was all very ethical, but one character was an AI." And you had the AI voiced by an AI. Is that unethical, or is it own voices?
Oh my god. The thing is, okay, this is my 2 cents. AI is not a person right now. We don't have true artificial intelligence existing on this earth right now. Therefore, it's not anybody's own voice. It's voices stolen from living humans who are people.
Yes.
Sorry, that's my. I hit my pop filter because I'm so passionate about this. But I really feel like when we get to the point, and I imagine we will get there, when we have like a Mass Effect style like robot voice who is a person with a mind of their own. I think that's probably a thing that will happen in the timeline of this earth. We are not there right now, and I don't think a lot of people, like just lay people, understand that when they hear that robot voice talking, it's not a person, and it's not speaking from its own mind. It's garbling back a word salad that it has been fed by someone who actually wrote it with their human hands and brain. Do you know what I mean? Like, we just actually aren't there yet. We don't have true artificial intelligence right now.
Yeah, it's my particular opinion on that is what you're doing the best way to do it? Not really like, because like if
ethical concerns aside,
yeah, like I don't know, like if you are like, again, like there's a vast difference between like I am going to type into ChatGPT, make me a podcast about blah 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 blah, and then just getting whatever it comes out of, versus this is one step of a much larger process that a bunch of humans are involved with. If, all of the words that were created were written by a human, and then you pass it to Microsoft SAM, which is a different kind of text-to-speech generator than the AI ones that you use now, and it produces a result, but that's not the result you're looking for. You need a different, the mere presence of AI doesn't bother me that much. The real thing is other than concerns about like you're now not hiring a voice actor that you would have hired before, but would you have hired, like, is this replacing Microsoft SAM, or is it replacing Sam Stark, right? Like, is it replacing a different text to speech system, or is it replacing a VA, right? Like, but how can you determine how that would have been, how things would have gone in the alternate universe where you didn't have access to this tool? I don't know.
I think the tools would have to be better at what they do before you'd get to the point where using the tool is better than hiring a human. Like, when you write a part for a ship AI, and you let the AI voice it, and you let a human actor voice it, there's a decent shot that the human actor will do a better job imitating a computer voice than the AI.
Or at least, and to the extent that like you need that character to sound better than current text-to-speech because it's the future and stuff like that. Like, there's all kinds of stuff there. I think an interesting take on that one is there are several services now that you can feed a human performance into, and it will try to spit out something of that performance in a different voice, right? Like, they've trained it on the way to transform one person's voice into another person's voice. Well, like,
basically voice modulation.
Yeah, voice modulation. There's a bunch of tools, there's at least a couple of tools that I know of that exist that way. And the question is like, well, a human was still involved in this process. You are resulting in something different, but so like I don't know. It's
so like, muddy. The lines are just so wiggly everywhere.
There's nothing like. There's no, to me at least, there's no like specific litmus test about like what makes this good or bad, right? The tools aren't as good as the tech bro. Like, we're in a world where both like the people who hate all AI, I keep putting scare quotes
you can't
up. Like,
see
people,
Scott making the scare quotes, but he is making them.
Yeah, yes. There are people out there who are like, everything that involves quote unquote AI is bad. And they're not right, but also the tech bros who just want to fucking do everything with it all of the time and replace all of the humans and make it all AI are also not right. And the middle point is not clear. There's no Rubicon. There's no line in the sand.
It's a huge sliding scale.
And circumstances are different everywhere. And like, and all of that to say, like, there's a real human instinct that when you come across something like this that is big and complex and there's no right answer, to sort of write the whole thing off and do whatever the fuck you want, which is the absolute wrong instinct, where it's like if presented with a situation like you're trying to figure out, is modulating a human voice with AI evil or is generating a voice with AI evil, but I wrote the words and I'm the one tweaking the sliders or whatever. Like when you're down to that point, like that's just like, yeah, you have to get into it and start figuring out where these lines are. It'll get
you have to
sorted
think with
out
your
eventually.
brain. You have to think with your human brain about how you feel about it.
It's a complex issue, so there's no simple solution, and that is not an excuse to give up and stop looking for answers.
And what I really don't recommend doing is asking ChatGPT, hey, how should I feel about this issue? Like, please think with your brain. Please think with your human brain.
Yeah.
Do not
use
ChatGPT like a therapist. This person that asked me came at it with such, like, I don't want to say fake sincerity, but like he came at me like he really, really cared about like the own voices issue. And he was talking about like, you know, but what, because I had just talked about accessibility through audiobooks on a panel. So of course he came up to me and talked to me about this, and he was talking about accessibility, and he was like, well, what about people that have always wanted to voice act in something and can't like vocalize, that can't talk? And you know, they could use AI, like the AI could be their voice. And I just kept coming back to like, we're not there yet. Like,
it's just
we cannot do that yet, and you're still stealing from people right now. That's not a thing.
Yeah, 100%.
I answered his question a lot of the ways that you guys did, and I really kind of focused on people that watch and listen to, or you know, whatever, to sci-fi stuff right now. There is an AI voice that they are expecting. And if you have the current real AI generated voice do that chip computer, it's going to sound like a real AI voice, and it's going to sound fake. And a lot of people who are listening for that kind of almost sassy lady that's like, you know, talking in the ship, you know, you're not going to get that because it's not a real person that is doing this AI voice. And I kind of just stuck with that because I didn't want to get too deep into that conversation with him. But it was really kind of sleazy coming at me with like, he was trying to be accessible about it. So people beware that now they're trying to speak languages that you understand.
That has been happening in the visual art space from the very beginning, because it's people going, well, I shouldn't have to go to art school to paint a beautiful picture. I just want to be able to do it in 5 minutes by knowing what prompts to put in. And I'm like, take a crayon, take a piece of paper, learn like a baby from the beginning, like we all should do as part of human experience. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God, there's like an entire other conversation to be had about like, don't fear being bad. Like,
it is so important to the human condition to start something and be bad at it and then improve and get better by practicing it.
Well, and also just like reveling, like there's the artists I love the most are the ones who revel in their own naivete about it. Like they go, I'm not going to try to please your design style. I'm going to do even though like, you know, even what they're doing is creating that's kind of off, or it's discouraging, or like it doesn't look traditionally good, but like they've decided what they're going to do and they're fucking going at it whole hog.
Yeah.
Those guys are heroes because like they're pushing bound, like they're the most an artist can be, is like they're not conforming to other people's rules. It's really
great. They're just making things from like the absolute core of their being. You know what I mean?
Can I tell you guys? I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but like since we're talking about AI, I have to vent this one frustration.
Spill it.
Is that in 2022, something like that, 2021, 2022, I was working on an anthology audio drama. I had several episodes written entirely about AI stories.
Wait a minute. I remember you telling me this at some point. Go on.
Yeah. And put it on the shelf for a minute to work on other stuff. And by the time I got back to it, the word AI has been ruined. I can't, like, none of the stories that I want to tell anymore work under the current idea of AI. But I have like the one I have an entire, I don't know if it's finished. I have most of an episode that is entirely about a small artificial intelligence that is instantiated specifically to sit with somebody while they die. Right. So the whole idea is that that way nobody dies alone. Right. That like they just have a little companion. And the twist on it is at the end of when the person dies, this little AI is shut down. And because of HIPAA compliance rules, they can't incorporate that patient data back into the main part of the AI. So this little version of the AI also dies at the end, right? And
that's really poignant and beautiful.
So good.
I love this idea, and like I don't have a place for it anymore, you know. And like I've got other ones about, you know, future artificial intelligence is looking back at all media of humanity and trying to reconstruct lost media that they know existed but they don't know what it is. Like there's all these really good ideas there, but like
there is
like I can't market that anymore because like a podcast about AI means something different than it did 4 years ago.
Does.
I think though, Scott, that like there will be a time for those stories.
I want this show to get made 10 years from now.
I want them really bad, especially because I understand that we would have just the worst time marketing this, and like a lot of people would be really mad. But like if you wait until like things kind of we figure out what we're doing and we figure out where we're going, and you put those out. I mean, obviously, humanizing AI is always going to be interesting and fun and poignant. So please save them for me.
I've got my scripts somewhere in my stash, and I've got my other ideas and all that stuff written down. If I could think of a way to like present it in a way that elicits the old version of AI, right? Like if it's, I don't want to use robots or androids or one of those other, like if I just find the way to like present it to people that I think would be usable, I think that it could be still very good.
Yeah, because I can see the like the alternate version of this story about the like bedside companion who sits with you when you die. That's like a clone who's grown in a tube and comes out with exactly the knowledge they need to comfort this person, and then just dies a natural death along with the person at the end. Like you could do that instead, but that's not really what you want to do.
No, that's not the story. And like possibly if I wanted to present this as an anthology, the other way to do it is make that a prominent theme, but don't make it part of like the pitch. Yeah. Right. Where like instead you just treat it something more like Love, Death, and Robots or heavy metal or whatever, where it's like, this is just like sci-fi fantasy ideas that we have. There's no theme, where it's just stuff. It's totally
there's no theme, quote unquote.
But like, and then that also frees you up to do other things, right? Like you do have to put some of the other stuff in there.
You could pepper some of these AI stories in with other things that have nothing to do with AI.
Right.
And then it's just a sci-fi anthology.
Yeah. Then it's just okay. But that's deep in the vault. I have to finish the one I'm working on now first.
Yeah, you got horny werewolves to do right now.
Okay, so I think we've had a rousing conversation, and I'm now both angry and disappointed about the existence of AI in our world, about a bunch of different facets of it. So
a lot of things, but I'm really happy to be making stuff with the two of you and other people that I know who like to make things with their human hands and brain.
Yes.
Yeah. There is nothing within the space of using AI that doesn't feel like you're working alone, really. And all of the best things I've ever gotten out of making things creatively has been when I collaborate with other humans and like get their input and talk to the brain. And like, we are not work with other people like go collaborate, make some
find
friends,
community, work with other artists. It's the best, most fulfilling feeling in the world. Anyway,
but we need to,
we need to wrap this up.
Yeah. We need to wrap it up and set our goals. I need to find out when our next date is, cause I need to know if it's in, September
good question. When is our next one?
And I just look at a calendar. You used to be able to click on the like day on the computer and just get a little calendar and I could like see what it was, and it's not there. They robbed me from it in Windows 11, and so now I have to like go
Windows 11.
Google.
It's
like
the 4th. The next day we're usually on is the 4th.
Okay, so my goal, I will definitely have the casting call done by the 4th. I would really love to launch the casting call on September 1st. That's a Monday. That would actually be really cool. I don't know that I can do that, but I'm really thinking about it. So I will definitely be done. There's a possibility I will kick the butt. That's a
oh my god! Wait a minute!
Kick the can. There's a possibility to kick the can down the road to whatever it is, the 8th or whatever, like the next weekend, to launch. I'll have the casting call done, and I'll be working on my revision. So that's what I'm finishing. And I gotta finish Bex, the accomplice, and rewrite her lines so that she has lines for people to say, and I can actually have people. Man, I do not envy. I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna say I do not envy. I totally envy the people who get a conlang as their audition piece. If I got that from somebody else, I would be so fucking jazzed to try doing that. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't feel bad for these people. Maybe I'm giving them a delicious treat.
Giving them a treat. A tasty treat.
Okay, so that's where I'm at. Do you guys have goals for the next 2 weeks?
Yes. So I am going on a retreat with my very, very good friends, also /
You're always
partners.
Going places.
I know I'm always doing something.
Sam the jet setter.
The weekend is going to be obviously a hangout and relax and kind of recharge, but we're also going to be working together because we just started an LLC together and we were marketing it at Worldcon. We're doing we've started a small press. We're doing a short story anthology. And I am the head of like the audio department. I'm going to be doing the podcast, and I'm going to be narrating the stories along with a couple other people. And I completely forgot that I also need to write a story that's going to be in this anthology. So I've written a couple, but they're way, way, way too long. I only get like 5,000 to 10,000 words, and the first one I wrote was like 27,000 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to work. So this weekend, I'm going to be writing a story for the anthology, but I'm not going to be writing the anthology story the whole time. And I was thinking like maybe some As in West stuff would be really nice, kind of like a palate cleanser, like
a little break.
Yeah,
Mhm.
to like break between this other stuff. And so I would love to come back on the 4th and have not only my story for the anthology because it's due on the 1st, but I would also like to have the conversation between Walker and the bot that I don't know what happened to. And I would like to look through all of the dialogue for what we've got so far for West. And I will make sure that all of the everything is available in the Google Drive.
Perfect.
And then probably have like a sit and brainstorm session about the next few episodes, like because I'm going to be doing a lot of just sort of relaxing by the water or in the forest wherever we are, and that would be such a great time to just sort of take a notebook and like just sort of
think about it.
free
And if you want to
yeah.
do like another 30-minute like phone call
Yes.
with me during one of those brainstorming sessions, that would be dope. I know we talked a little bit ahead about the episode like 3, whatever's the next one, but yeah, I would love to speak about both that and the following episode.
Yep. So
Cool.
that was really sort of all over the place, but they're in my brain. They are very like
they're
solid,
rotating like a rotisserie chicken.
Yes,
in there.
it's like 3 or 4 little
signpost.
balls, and they're doing like the atom thing where they're just circling around something. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to try and do.
Cool. Jack, how about you?
Yeah, once I have access to that first half of the episode, I will make my whatever dialogue tweaks I want to make, and then I'll find a time to talk to Sam before the 4th to talk about the next couple episodes.
Cool. Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, in that case, we will catch the audience in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Once again, I've put off recording this outro until my apartment is noisy. So short outro noises here. Bye.